unprovoked, unprompted, out of nowhere, this psychic lady comes up to her, and the thing she said about me was, she said, if you stay tuned till the end, I'll tell the story. Aiea today. We've been meaning to shoot Aiea for a long time. I was trying to wait till my niece was off from school because they grew up here. So we'll do another video with my niece or my nieces showing Aiea, but I have a bombshell for you. You didn't even know. You didn't even know I was gonna go here. Did you see that I opened up the store on the channel?
Oh, I saw it.
So I don't know that you're gonna be able to get core team water bottles yet, but the core team shirts that we wear, stuff like that, we're gonna be making basically Hawaii propaganda. I miss Hawaii, I love Hawaii, whatever. There's gonna be a lot of Hawaii stuff. Just check out our merchandise. Pali Momi Hospital is right here. Special thing about that place, so I grew up running around that hospital. My stepmom was an ICU nurse. My dad met her when my grandma was dying. He married the nurse, long story short. And so when I would come over from Florida for the summer, I would be running around the hospital back before, you know, patient privacy was as big of a deal or whatever. I would sleep in this one ICU bed that never gets used. I knew the codes to the different floors, and I would go say hi to the different nurses, and I would go across to Pearlridge. And I remember, like, I didn't know anyone, so I'm walking through and there's like a group of girls, like groups of guys, whatever, and I'm like being an awkward, you know, 6th grader, 7th grader. Kind of grew up running around Aiea in the days during the daytime because we lived, you know, elsewhere, but I would be here in the day. Anyways, now we're on Moanalua Road, passing Alva Scott Elementary School, and let's take them to like Aiea Heights first. Aiea has a lot of different faces to it. Aiea is one thing near the Kamehameha Highway, it's one thing up here, it's one thing as you go towards Newtown. Aiea is the most centrally located place on the island. Now, geographically, it's Mililani. Like, Mililani is the bullseye in the middle of the island. But if you look at the economy and the population, Aiea is like dead center. Kaneohe in 10-ish minutes, maybe 12 or something, yeah. Town in 10-ish minutes. Eva in like 15-ish minutes. These are all no traffic, you know, obviously. You know what? I'm gonna turn in Aiea Bowl. Aiea Bowling Alley is pretty much just a restaurant now. Hawaii, you know, there's weird like cultural idiosyncrasies or whatever. Like, maybe that's not the right word. Comment below if I'm wrong. There's just like things, you know, about Hawaii. And this bowling alley used to be a bowling alley. Now, did you know they just turned the pins to the ones on the strings?
Oh,
yeah.
Sauce.
So at lunchtime, you'll see a line, people lining up to eat over here. I've eaten Aiea Bowl multiple times. I remember the hamburger steak being good. Do you eat there?
And then
they have some kind of chicken.
Cake, the chiffon cake or something.
Oh yeah, they're famous for their cake?
No, the lemon crunch.
Yeah, they're famous for some kind of cake, and then I think there's some garlic chicken or something. I'm used to bowling alley food being like cheese sticks and chicken nuggets. We're passing Aiea High School, we gotta mention that. So I had 3 nieces, all played soccer here, either went to college or going to college on soccer, whether D2 and D1, kids walking around. So basically I was just doing too much talking in the car, which is kind of boring. But Aiea High School behind us, there's this guy Jordan I know who's a dentist, I believe. We talk about real estate investing. His group of friends, they're all the same. Aiea is a small community, even though it's right in the middle of everything. It's kind of a densely populated place. It almost has like this small town effect where friends who were friends in elementary or friends in high school are friends into adulthood. I see it the most in Aiea. My in-laws from Aiea. So my brother-in-law, Aiea boy, born and raised. My brother-in-law's friends, same group of 5 to 10 guys ever since they were in intermediate or middle school, high school, elementary. The cliques that my nieces are in, they're just really tight. It's a small school. I think the graduating class is less than 200. For Oahu, that's really small, so everyone knows everyone, and it's a little more cohesive for that reason. So like at the big schools like Mililani, Campbell, the culture is a little bit more like, oh, they are the whatever ethnicity, or they are the baseball player, the people who are into cars, or the people who are super into dressing nice. It's more cliquey when you get thousands of kids. When it's small, it's hard for it to be that way. And so there's good and bad, right? Do you know anyone from Aiea? Because Aiea High School is so small, you don't really know people from here, right? I happen to marry into someone whose sister married into an Aiea family, so I learned a ton about it. In our Kalihi video, I talked about columns, concrete, plants, and then some people commented like, oh, we know what kind of house you're talking about. You get that in Aiea. You also get, how do I explain? Like, you also notice that there's judo and jiu-jitsu thing over there. You get different cultures, you know what I mean? Picking up what I'm putting down. But in terms of the real estate, older homes for the most part. You see those awning sort of things? The homes that were in like the 60s or whatever had these awnings that went over windows, whatever. You see that there. See these tile roofs, carports. That garage, I bet, used to be a carport, was converted into the garage. For the most part, Aiea is really hilly, so you have these people that have views, like views of Pearl Harbor, which we'll catch later in this video, but also these weird homes that kind of, you gotta walk up to them and then walk down and walk up. You can see all of that here. You know, you have these stairs here that maybe that's for the high school kids to transition through. I really don't know. One thing I say about Hawaii on this channel is on Oahu, it's hard to get proximity to the water views, and a hill like right here. There's not a lot of places like that. East Honolulu, there's Lilipuna and Kaneohe, Pupuke on the North Shore. But like on Maui, when you go like West Maui, there's all these places where there's ocean, hills, houses, so all these amazing views. You don't get it as often here in Aiea. When you're in Aiea Heights, parts of Pearlridge, like upper Pearlridge area, Royal Summit, etc., you can get these amazing views and you're not too far from the water, which just makes the view like a little better than like a Makakilo view. Makakilo on the west side, it's set miles back. So you have all this land in front of you. It's not the same, you know, it's amazing, but it's not the same. You get these Pearl Harbor views. You can see the Arizona Memorial back there. If you're not familiar with the Arizona Memorial, that's the Arizona was one of the main ships that got bombed in Pearl Harbor and many people died, etc. Pretty unique thing. I think local people take it for granted, or maybe some don't even care, but when I went, it was eerily kind of special. Oftentimes you can see this like missile detecting golf ball thing in Pearl Harbor. Some people say, oh, that's why my cell phone doesn't work every time that thing's in. I don't know if that's true. If you're local, comment. Do you experience like reception problems when that thing's in? But the other thing I wanted to mention is about culture. Each neighborhood has its own culture, and I think that's one of the things we do great on this channel is talking about the nuances of that. When I think of Aiea, I don't think of this like beach Hawaii culture that a lot of people are probably looking for. I think of like baseball players and soccer players. I see you smile, right? Like baseball players and soccer players more than I think of like surfers and like beach cruiser riders. I mean, look at it. It's a sidewalk paved sort of suburb area, and the reason why I'm saying this here is there's no surfable ocean. In Hawaii Kai, the marina dictates kind of the culture, like the loafers, the pastels, and the sweater around the shoulders in Hawaii Kai. In Kailua, the ocean, the geography or topography or whatever, like it dictates the culture, because you can walk barefoot to the beach and enjoy the beach with your shirt off and then going down to earth. The flatness and the sandy beach of Kailua kind of dictates the culture. Here, you're not swimming in that water. You're not even going to that water. You're just seeing it from the mountain, and then you're going down to shopping and you're like driving somewhere. Aiea is right next to Pearl Harbor, one of the best commutes to Pearl Harbor Hickam, the biggest military installation in the Pacific. You don't think of it being as military of a place, because usually those military people, if they wanted proximity, they live in base housing. Red Hill before the water crisis, or other base housings around here. They don't necessarily want to move out into the economy and have an old house on a, you know, actually these houses are pretty nice. So not a good example. You know, have an old house in Aiea, they maybe go to Eva for that, go to Mililani for that. If they can afford it, go to Kailua and get the walkable sand. They're not moving to Hawaii to just move into this concrete mountain with sidewalks and play soccer and baseball. They could have done that at the base in North Carolina. They're moving here for some kind of Hawaii experience. So I don't think of Aiea as being as military or transitory. I think of Aiea as being this like local community that's hidden in plain sight, kind of. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's kind of plain, but it has its own special culture too. Like, Aiea people are proud. Na'ali'i, the high school, it's like. So I tried to get as nuanced as possible. There's a lot there. If you're local, comment. And if you're not local, also comment and say like, I think I see what you're saying. Let me know if I got the point across. Okay, so fun fact, I graduated in Aloha Stadium. Obviously that's not a high school, but people used to graduate there. But now it's so dilapidated, they've deemed it unsafe, so you can't even go inside. One of the big things I see in the news on Instagram right now is the budget for the new stadium. 800 million. And the new governor just said, we're gonna try to do it for 400 million. So cut the budget in half, which is a good thing, because I'd rather start there than start at billions like the rail. And that opens up a whole can of worms for local people. But there's supposed to be this whole new cutting edge stadium being built right where that one is. And it's bittersweet, because just the word stadium, like it does something to a local person, right? Like what? Stadium swap meet, the 50th state fair, graduation for us, big concerts, Pro Bowl. Tell me not. Passing Stadium on the freeway, right? Where are you? Passing Stadium. Whether you're going town or going this way, Passing Stadium. Hawaii's a small place. These landmarks are significant. But when that like green and yellow Oakland Athletics things goes down, It'll be the end of an era, and the view for these people will change. It'll be something different. So, because Hawaii, so much of our development happened recently, post 1950s, 60s. To our parent, there wasn't much past Aiea. This was the outskirts before. Like Eva Beach was like, oh, you're talking about country.
Yeah.
It's like on the mainland, it's like driving hours away, right? Now Eva Beach is just suburbia. Aiea, to me, someone who's lived the mainland, lived in San Francisco, etc. If I stop and think about it, it's kind of, you know, it's town-ish. Local people are already hating on me in the comments. You're not from here. I get it. No, it's not town. But to someone who's not from here, all the concrete, all the buildings, etc., I could see where they would think that. To kind of showcase that point, objectively, it's metro, it's like city-ish. We're standing over the freeway, over H1. If you look behind these buildings, there's bigger buildings. The freeway cuts right through Aiea. So for example, where my in-laws live, I keep referencing them because they're like my Aiea connection. You can hear the freeway from their house. Nice, quiet neighborhood, but they're right on the threshold of hearing this freeway. The freeway cuts through here just like you would a metro area. But somehow, for local people, Aiea is still this small town. It's an interesting dichotomy of things. It's a little more stressful here for me. Like Aiea is just, it's that city feel, but then it's not. A lot of the condo and townhomes that they're all around here. So that's the park. Eva Tower, there's multiple towers. The Pearl. My 21st birthday, I had alcohol poisoning and I woke up in that building. My friend had to come get me. I couldn't even drive. Stupid things we do when we're young. But yeah, this loop is just a loop full of condos. It's kind of like Pu'alei Circle in Waikiki, or like a little piece of like town in Honolulu. If you're facing one way, freeway noise. You're facing the other way, less freeway noise. You're facing one way, sunset heat. Facing the other way, not so much. Another thing, if you want to invest for like a medium-term rental situation for traveling nurses, this might be the perfect place, because look, we're right here, and there's a hospital right here. You can also walk to Down to Earth, the vegan Whole Foods type thing, Pearlridge with all of the shops and restaurants. Hawaii, there's only pockets of walkability outside of town. This direct Pearlridge area in a condo has a unique little walkable offering. For the people on the mainland, Pearlridge is like the locals mall. Ala Moana is the biggest mall in the Pacific. It's its whole own tourist thing. Local people go to Pearlridge, and there's two sides to it. They're divided by a parking lot, and there's a monorail. For my local people, do you know which side is uptown and downtown? Or do you say like the movie theater side, HIC side, town and country side, or Macy's side? You know uptown versus downtown?
I don't know. Yeah, you say the stores.
You say the store, yeah. Oh, I'm on the...
No, it's TJ Maxx.
TJ Maxx Ross side or whatever, right? Yeah. So a couple more condo buildings here. There's some smaller, we were selling one in that building way back there, like cheaper, very lower price point, different product. So I'm on Ka'onohi now. We're going up the hill. I spent a lot of time in this community. My in-laws live up here. This community just starts to feel very like a family, homey vibe really quick. I don't know if that's because of my biased experience here. It's interesting how close you are to so much shopping and so many commercial buildings, and then how it departs from that really quick, going up into this tree-lined mountain. I think that's the truth for all of Aiea and Pro City. For me as a kid, I didn't mention Aiea as much. Like I was just, Pro City. Like you could just call the whole thing Pro City. Same, right? Yeah. To us, like leeward people. But Aiea people are like, no. Like we're our whole own unique thing. The two most elevated, both literally and figuratively elevated communities in this Aiea area. In terms of a more deliberate community, Pearlridge Estates and Royal Summit. Literal like luxury real estate. Up at the top of these mountains. I wonder sometimes, for me actually, end goal, where would I want to live on Oahu? Would I choose something unique up here? Just because proximity to everything. I might come up here. I'm not even gonna lie, I've never been in there. I didn't even really know it existed. We're here at a gated community, Nahare Keha. In fact of the matter is these homes probably almost never sell. There's not many of them. And so there's no reason for many people to go up here unless they know someone. This is kind of like Haiku Plantation. I feel like maybe more people know about Haiku Plantation for whatever reason. What? Right in the gate, yeah. Right in the gate. Right, security guard right there. I was just doing a consult with some physicians yesterday, a fellow and an attending radiologist. I was telling them, like, when I worked in healthcare, I can't remember meeting a physician who didn't live in East Honolulu. It's just my experience. Aina Haina, Kahala, Hawaii Kai, like everyone lived that way. However, I could see like a generation ago, physician, attorney, whatever, that they're like cemented up here, like in that house actually. So this is one of the communities I would consider one day when I'm ready to move into the like $2 to $3 million range. Not all of the homes here cost that, but say if I'm ready to move into that range, I think I would consider Royal Summit or Pearlridge Estates. Get a home with an amazing view of the island, maybe doing an infinity pool and hot tub type situation, and just live in this quiet, you know, runnable, joggable community. Let's talk about blue roof, blue house. You're not held to the same like gated community standards like you are over there. I like it when a community isn't bound by these association rules, but people do at least up to par job at keeping their home. There's just a different character to that. I prefer that. This west Oahu mountain view, it's just underappreciated. You ever hear anyone talking about that view? Doesn't it have like kind of Maui vibes? Looking across Maui through the valley, like, and that's what between the West Oahu Mountains, which isn't even a thing, but West Maui Mountains, there's like songs about it. That and like town, there is this valley that is Mililani going towards North Shore. We kind of don't appreciate it here for whatever reason. This is one of my favorite views. Obviously the windward side is breathtaking, but I don't know, for whatever reason I love this view, and there aren't many places where you can capture it, and I love it. That's the end of Pro City. Those two buildings there are the last two buildings. Century Park Plaza. I've talked about it in other videos, so that's where the H2 goes up towards the North Shore, towards Mililani and stuff. There's a freeway merge that creates traffic right there in the morning. That's where traffic kind of lets off a bit in the afternoon because some people are going that way. Because they're the last two tall buildings on Oahu, I consider that to be kind of the remnants of Metro. So Aiea and Pro City are like the Metro's dissipating, and then suburbia ensues. Right as you go past those two buildings. So this is the neighborhood that my in-laws live in. 15 years plus I've been coming here. And this community is where we'll do Halloween. So we usually walk around. It's always hot. Every Halloween I come here, it's hot. We've done Christmas Eve, which is special at their house, etc. I was trying to think of how can we stop and say something about this community. My brother-in-law and I, we talk vulgarly and just say like jokes and stuff that I couldn't tell on this channel. But you came up with something, so I'll reference it. You notice a lot more bonsai trees here. A lot more rock garden, more bonsai, more look like Mr. Fujioka came out, trimmed the whole thing with scissors. The whole thing's perfect, kind of like nice yards. People really take care of their yards here. But we have a lot of good memories. Not us, people pop fireworks on New Year's. I've almost felt like adopted into the Aiea community because of my in-laws. I just think this home at the top of Royal Summit, it's a good representation of like how it's elevated up here. And Royal Summit or Pearlridge Estates, probably more Royal Summit, these are like, for a lot of local people, this like, they don't need to go Hawaii Kai, Kailua, etc. because they feel more comfortable a little bit more this side, or, you know, it varies for everyone. Some people are from North Shore, but people who are from like Central to Leeward, this would be a fine place to settle and get a view like this. So right now we're in Waimalu. In the Pro City video we did, we overlapped into here because it's hard to separate these. Officially, this is not Pro City, this is more Aiea High School district. And down Hikaha, if we don't get a chance to go there today, that's where Pacific Ceiling Fans is, the place I worked as a kid. My cut cabinets in stone, where we'll tell people to get cabinets and stuff as long as that's the quality they're looking for. There's just a blend that happens right here. Dave's Ice Cream. Is Dave's Ice Cream like a thing for you?
Oh yeah.
For local people, that's like the local ice creamery, right? Like there's also this driving range. We're here at Best Buy because I'm gonna get a mic for some social media content stuff. This is the other side of Aiea. So we spent most of our time Mauka, towards the mountains, on that side of Moanalua Road. Now this is Cam Highway. This is Waimalu technically, which collectively is a part of Aiea. A lot of people would say Pro City, but more so Aiea. What I wanted to point out here is like my brother-in-law, my in-laws, we always banter. I'll speak poorly about Aiea to them, and they'll say, no, Aiea is the nicest place, you know. There's no place better than Aiea for all these reasons. And I think the two sides to that conversation are Mauka Aiea and this part of, you know, Cam Highway Pro City, Cam Highway Waimalu, Cam Highway Aiea. Before you didn't have the rail here, so this whole monstrosity, which old uncles like my dad, like, that thing ugly, I hate it. You can see the mix of industry. We on one of our videos or two of our videos, we talked about this bike path, which used to be more of a bike path. Now there are a lot of families that live in tents on that bike path. It's not as safe to go anymore. This old shopping center, which you cannot talk bad about that because Kabuki, there's like local old gyms there. There's a different thing here. We came up to Aiea Loop Trail and Heiau. There's probably a more eloquent explanation or description, so forgive me. There's a loop trail, gazebos and stuff, place to camp. You see all these like intentional pines here. It has a real like Tahoe or, you know, mountainous kind of vibe. Two things. We're gonna get some footage of this as we drive around. Secondly, our clients, Mike and Jessica, shout out to Mike and Jessica. I know Jessica's hiked this trail, so ask her if she has some pictures. We'll include one of our clients who moved here. We'll include some pictures from this trail and how beautiful it is. Third, I have a story. First, like, let's observe where we are. We're in this foresty Boy Scout, Girl Scout kind of things. I know schools do come up here. I see parents with kids, you know, 3 and 4 year olds up here all the time. Construction workers come and eat their lunch up here. It's a cool vibe. When I joined the Coast Guard and I was in boot camp, my wife came up here to have a plate lunch, and we're young love, all of this stuff, writing letters almost every day. Except for if my wife watches this, when she went to Disney with her family, I stopped getting the letters and I'm in boot camp and I'm like, what the hell? But boot camp's 8 weeks and we're a few weeks in or something. But she said she came up here, there were these 3 ladies. They left her alone, they were kind of eating, and then the lady comes and makes conversation with her. She said some very pointed thing about my wife's mother's past and their experience that was like, how could you know this? And remember, this is 2006. So there weren't iPhones with like facial recognition and you scanned you know, her profile and learned everything about her in the 30 seconds before you talked to her. That didn't exist. And the thing she said about me was, she said, hey, he loves you. He's away right now becoming a man. Boot camp. He's away right now becoming a man, but he does love you. And she was like, what? Unprovoked, unprompted, out of nowhere. And I'm at boot camp writing her letters. Hey, I'm happy that, you know, we're together. I love you. So anyways, I don't know if you believe in psychic. Does that mean anything or is that a pure coincidence? There used to be this Vietnamese lady who was like a world famous psychic here in Hawaii. She told my stepmom, they were nurses, they went for fun, but she told my stepmom, like, you're Japanese. And she's like, what? No, I'm not. She's like, no, you're Japanese or you're gonna have Japanese family or something. And she was like, what? She ended up marrying, now not too far-fetched that a Caucasian woman in Hawaii might end up marrying someone part Japanese, so So I don't know. We're gonna do another Aiea video with my niece who's from here, and we'll banter and I'll tell her Aiea sucks and she'll show us all the stuff that even I wouldn't think to mention. And maybe on that video, if we get enough comments about it, I'll get my wife to kind of refresh me on the story. I should mention kind of the energy, some of the folklore, the mythology around Hawaii. I'm not the best person to tell it. I would actually want to bring some of my partners on, Mahe, Lauren, and they may not even want to go there because now you enter like a respect. Like I'm not of that status in the Hawaiian hierarchy to tell that story. However, we're next to a Hawaiian like worshiping site at Sedra. As you expect with an island culture, and we have Asian roots and Polynesian Pacific. There's folklore here. There's the lady with no face. Don't take pork over the pali. There's a place called Glass Coffins. There's Morgan's Corner where supposedly your car will roll uphill. There's Minihune. There's night marchers. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some people say I'm crazy for even mentioning these things in this location. If you want us to make a video on that, although it's not real estate, but it is sort of Hawaii culture, if you want a video on that sort of thing, also drop us a comment.